Good morning and welcome to the upper deck on this rubber day of rubber days. It's getting to be a trend that I do not like. I'm here as always with Ciarra, and Ciarra, you were so missed last week. Everyone in the chat was calling for you, and I said she'll be back. She'll be back next week, and here you are.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy that my eye feels better. Unfortunately, I had a bug bite on my eyelid that led to an eye infection, which I didn't even know that was possible. So that was a weird experience in itself. I looked like during the week when it was healing, I looked like I had gotten to a brawl. My eye was like black and swollen. It was crazy, but I feel much better. I look much better, and I can not scratch my eyeball out. So that's great. But yeah, happy to be back. I wish I was happy about last night's game, but here we are.
Well, the good news is we get to get it all off our chests, and so that we could hopefully be a little bit optimistic about tonight, or a lot of it. And our chat's coming in hot. So let me just start like we always do with Spencer's trivia question of the week. But let me tell the tale that he gave me. So 22 years ago, Yankees third baseman Aaron Boone hit a walk-off home run off the Red Sox Tim Wakefield in the 11th inning of the ALCS Championship Series Game 7. It was a moment that is forever etched in the minds of every Yankees fan alive at the time. Those who listened to the game on the radio would normally have expected to hear the voice of John Sterling recite one of his characteristic calls marking the end of the game and the series. But Yankee fans did not hear, and this is where Spencer's going to make me imitate Sterling, ball game over. American League Championship Series over. The Yankees win. The Yankees win. How'd I do, Spencer? Who was the radio announcer that called Boone's famous walk-off home run? So that is from Spencer. It is a good trivia question, guys, to focus on our booth guys every now and then. But also a nod to Aaron Boone there. So put your guesses in the chat. What'd you say, Ciarra?
Now we're stuck with him because of that one home run.
Now he's on a reel every time it's relevant. I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet this series. So
we're gonna see it today now, just because you said that.
Yeah, probably. Well, then we could blame Spencer. So let's just do a quick roll call. Hey, Jonathan, Lori, FJ, Shayna. Shayna's saying, welcome back, Ciarra. I agree. And Lori, oh yeah, Lori, we're going to get there about Reyes and Hamilton. If their ears aren't burning, I don't know what to say about that. Raziel, yeah, hey, good to see you. Throwing you up here. Look, I know it's a rough climb, Raziel, but you do have the best seat in the house once you get here. We have it saved for you every week. We promise that to you every week. And the guesses are coming in. So Lori's guessing Charlie Steiner. And FJ said he was watching TV at the time. FJ is probably because Smoltz wasn't the it probably wasn't a Fox game that night. And Jordan's saying the same. He's doubling down on what Lori put down, Charlie Steiner. So, and Raziel saying, so Boone was playing under Torrey and now manages like a buffoon. I guess, the opinion polls on Boone have not much improved, but let's I know we're going to be focused on Boston because Boston, but let's take a moment to remember the beginning of the week. We faced the Guardians. One of the last things I said last week is do not sleep on the Guardians. And it wasn't a gimme. What do you think about what happened in Cleveland, Ciarra?
I think the AL Central in general just deserves a little bit more respect this season. I know that they get a lot of hate because they have the White Sox in their division, but you have two really good teams over there right now in Detroit, who is the best team in the American League, and the Cleveland Guardians. And then you have two other teams who could make a playoff run, which is the Twins and the Royals if they ever get their act together. So I think that whole division deserves a lot of respect. And we should never sleep on the Guardians just in general. I mean, look at last year's playoffs, right? They gave us a run for our money, but we took 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And so can't be super upset about it. Game 1, we won 4-0. Game 2, we lost 4-0, and game 3, we won 3-2. So we also, we weren't out here hitting home runs left and right. We had to put up a fight, which sometimes it's nice to see that the Yankees actually have a fight in them. But so we took 2 out of 3. Fried had a dominant outing. Bellinger looked good in that series. Chisholm came back from the IL and he hit a home run. So that was nice to see. And then Wednesday's shutout was the exception. After that, like I said, we had to put up a fight and show that we had the dog in us.
That's right. And maybe I should start feeling grateful about rubber games, because, and I'm going to get the stats on this, on how many, rubber games we actually end up taking the series on. I think it's the vast majority. And I'm hoping that plays true today, and I don't look like a stupid head for saying that. And Laura, you're right. AL East isn't the best this year by far. And you know who likes to say that at every opportunity? John Schmaltz. Which or is it Joe? I don't even know. Schmaltz. Yeah. No, it isn't. But when you look at our numbers and compare it to other divisions, we'd be doing okay in some of the other divisions. All right. So we got past the Guardians, and here we were on to Friday night. And so let's just get right into it. So
Friday was a good night. Friday was a good night. 9-6 we won. Let's see. We had 5 runs in the first inning. So the bullpen is what made Friday scary. They let it get a little too close, but overall we took the win, so I don't really care. Jazz Chisholm, let me just say, I think the injury was the best thing that could have ever happened to him. So whatever is going on with him, I hope it just continues.
Yep, I totally agree, and I have some insight into that I got off of our friend Brian Hope that I'll share in a little bit. And so, hey, good morning, Hold My Beer. Saw you come in. And Raziel saying, can we stop throwing to Devers, please?
I agree.
Yeah. Why don't we just do the Aaron Judge on him and just get him, just walk him? So I don't know, but it hasn't been pretty. It hasn't been a pretty series. And the thing is, we're going there next weekend, and we can't go in not having won this series, just for so many different reasons. And Raziel, I could answer this for you. So it was always the plan to have Jazz take an off day this week because he's just getting back from the IL. But it just made sense last night because of lefty and lefty pitching. So that's why they just, with the pitching last night, they thought this was a good opportunity. And what did we end up having to do? Bring him in anyway. So, and I think we have a Ciarra having some technical. Yeah. So we'll see her in a minute, but we could hear her. So it was actually a decision from Boone, Raziel, that made sense to me. Not having that lefty on lefty combo. So, and welcome to Lillian. We see you here as well. And yes, Lillian, when you come in with us, I really love that you always have something optimistic to say. We're doing well. But there are naysayers out there that want to point out, well, you're only doing so well because your division sucks. So, but no, on paper, we're doing really well. When you look at the numbers, guy by guy, we're doing well. There are some that were towing on that Mendoza line for a while that are no longer there. So we're getting better in our wellness. So we just got to do better than better today.
It's also not our fault that the AL East sucks this season. Like going into 2025, the Boston Red Sox should be a lot better than what they are. On paper, the Red Sox are one of the best teams in the division, but they're not living up to that. They have Garrett Crochet, who typically pitches like an ace. He didn't yesterday. They have Bregman, who's now injured, and they have a lot of drama going on with Rafael Devers, because going into the season they said, no, you can't play third base because we brought Bregman in, and then Tristan Casas got hurt, so they wanted him to play first, and he basically told them to F off. So not our fault that the division sucks. Also, Baltimore, what the hell? What are they doing? That they rose and fell so quickly that I didn't even have time to blink.
Yeah. And oops, well, I just lost my screen for a second there. Yeah. So Raziel, I get it. So I guess that's true, but I didn't really expect him to do. I was actually a lot bit surprised that they had Jazz come in the ninth, because it was counterintuitive to the whole reason. So I'm with you there. And why expect anything from him cold off the bench like that, when the whole reason you're sitting him is because you need him to like sort of ease back in a bit. And I'm just going to throw this up on the screen before we pivot. So this is last night. So this is how it went, guys. As much as we want to talk about Yarbrough, and we will, doing something in the bed that I won't say on a family show. Look at what the guys did not do. Look at all those zeros and who they're from. So, and look at who produced. And we're going to be talking about DJ. We're going to be talking about Wells. So. And Belly as well, but the zeros are from the guys that we've been relying on and can rely on, and we just got nothing out of them. But the good news is that this is unusual, and we expect better today. But I just wanted to paint the picture from our lens here. Not good production and support behind the Yarbrough man.
Yeah. 100%. And I just wanted to highlight FJ's comment, because you and I were talking about this before we hopped on. The Yankees struggled to hit, Justin Wilson, but they can light up Yamamoto, who's an ace. They can get 5 runs off of Garrett Crochet, who's an ace, but they can't hit these veterans who were geriatric, or these no-name guys who just came out from AAA and have nothing. But then they want to turn around and light up the aces. I will never understand that. I need more consistency. It's very frustrating to see.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, are they just taking it, lightly, that they're not facing an ace and they think they got this, and so they're not, scouting hard and doing their usual things. So it is frustrating, though. There's no doubt about that. And Lou, so I see that you're saying that this division is softer than a baby's. Yeah, it is. And were we somewhere else, maybe we wouldn't be so high up in where we are. But I'm kind of fine. I'm kind of fine with this being where we are. So we're gonna get right into hot and not. But you know what? I gotta take this opportunity for a little hot topic, and it continues from last week. Why are we being punished with schmaltz for 2 weeks in a row? Let alone the fact that we get him again next Saturday night. Why? What did we do? All we're doing is doing what Yankees do. Why do we deserve this? Why aren't there other 2 big teams that could have been Saturday Night Baseball? And all right, so you had the Boston Red Sox last night. Who wants to see them again next weekend? Like, put that on something else. Put that on MLB. I can't with him. And him with that short porch thing, and so many other things. Yeah, I can't wait for when he has to face Yankees in heaven, and he'll have his own version of hell when that happens.
I can't wait until next weekend when we're in Boston and we hit a home run down the left field line and we can remind John Smoltz that the Red Sox have the shortest left field in all of baseball.
Oh, I wish they had a dial-in number so that we could say that, but say that to his face. But yeah, one of the direct quotes from Schmaltz last night was, and obviously here you don't have to hit them super far off. So to what Ciarra just said, take that, Schmaltz. Okay, I'm done. Until next week. So let's get right into who's hot, who's not. Take it away, Ciarra.
So maybe it's just me, but Carlos Rodon is finally pitching. Maybe it's not just me. I feel like everyone feels like this. We've been waiting for this version of Carlos Rodon for 3 years, and we finally have it. I was nervous. Look, going into the season, him being the third pitcher behind Fried and Garrett Cole, I was like, okay, he has the pressure off of him. He can do this. When Cole went down, I was so nervous because now the spotlight is back on Rodon. He just took his 7th straight win versus Cleveland. He went into the 7th inning. He's been a complete bulldog. He's 8 strikeouts again against Cleveland. This is the Carlos Rodon that I want to always see. This is the guy that we are paying for. Whatever he did in the offseason, whatever he did to fix his attitude and figure it out, please continue to do that because I do not want to see him revert back to the other Rodon.
Yeah. And he is on such a streak of the Rodon that we have, we're so excited to get. We finally have him. And so I am going to look directly into the camera and get closer to the microphone. I'm talking to you, Carlos Rodon. Maybe your wife is listening at least. Do it again one more time, please. And then more times. But tonight, do it. Be the Rodon we're being spoiled by this season. Period. Okay, so yes, all those things about Rodon. He's been a revelation, and it's been so great to see. I'm gonna ask you to continue because we had so many similar hots this week, Ciarra.
Yeah, Tim Hill. So recently I was pretty down on Tim Hill because he just wasn't looking like himself. But his last 7 games, or the last 7 games, he's kind of come back around to be the Tim Hill that I know and love. And I will stand by what I said preseason. $2 million for Tim Hill was a steal. And I can't believe it took the Yankees as long as it did to re-sign him. The last 7 games, he's pitching to a 1.23 ERA. That's through 7 innings. He's only given up 4 hits and 1 earned run. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. When our bullpen has been as inconsistent as it has been lately, having Tim Hill there, especially with Weaver going down, it's just like a breath of fresh air. So another guy where I hope he continues this because he wasn't looking so good. And then all of a sudden he fixed himself and he's back to the Tim Hill that we love.
That's right. And so, Raziel is saying Tim not over, but on top of the hill. That's right. King of the hill. It's so good to see him, the way we're used to seeing him. And I really wish we had seen him in the 9th instead of somebody that we're going to be talking about on the other side of this particular slide. So, it's just really good to see. And you did you say this already, Ciarra? The 1.23 ERA.
Yeah.
From him?
Yeah, that's from the last 7 games, and that's could not ask for more from our 7th, 8th inning guy, 6th, 7th, 8th inning guy. Because I feel like with Boone, I never know when anyone's going into the game at this point. But Tim Hill looks great, and I hope he keeps it up because we really need consistency out of the bullpen, especially considering we don't have a starting 5 rotation. We have a Max Fried and a Carlos Rodon. Clark Schmidt. I'm the biggest Clark Schmidt fan, but you don't know what you're going to get out of Clark at this point. Will Warren has been up and down, and Yarbrough again, like it's all over the map. So we need a strong and consistent bullpen at this point.
We do, and we've needed them to what you're saying. We've needed them all season. But I'm gonna give Yarbrough some grace because he has been consistent up until now. And like I was saying to you before we jumped on, Ciarra, it was so bad last night that I thought he was tipping his pitches because it was just so out of character. His known lower velo was in place, but it wasn't getting the same effect that it normally did. And as we saw in the after show, that they're chalking it up to just bad command and location. My question with that though is, where was Austin Wells in this game? From the catcher's end of thing, did anyone see him walk to the mound once last night? Because I sure didn't. Like, how about going to the mound and saying, "Hey, is your pitch comp broken, bro? What's going on here? You're missing. Why didn't that happen?" No one could answer that, but
listen, I vowed that I would be nice to Austin Wells today because he was, decent yesterday. But I could go down a whole rabbit hole about why Austin Wells frustrates me behind the plate. Especially when you look across MLB and how many catchers the Yankees have traded or let go in the last 18 months, and the guy we chose to keep is Austin Wells. At that point, I expect so much more out of the guy. I expect leadership. I expect better throwing runners out. I expect better offensively. So that is a whole rant I can go on, but I'm going to be nice to him today because he had a nice game yesterday.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, just keep on doing that. I'll be the bad guy this week about it. I don't think he did his job. Where was Matt Blake? Was he at Great Adventures last night? Nobody got up there to at least like to have that fake mound visit to give Yarbrough a chance to collect himself. And Lori, oh come on. I'm putting it here because it's funny and perhaps true last night. But yeah, a little touch of salmonella, but not to after the count. I think we're bouncing right back. And Sunil, ew, no, not E. coli, please. So and Jordan saying to your point, Ciarra, that look at Narvaez.
I wasn't even gonna bring up his name because he plays for Boston, but yeah, Carlos Narvaez is one of the guys. And then you look to Miami and you have Ramirez, and it's like even Trevi and Higgy, like we were so upset with them for how they played, yet for some reason we're supposed to accept mediocrity out of Austin Wells.
Right. And be totally fine with it. It's just I just don't have an answer for that. So, but we'll stick to the good. His bat, the burritos have passed through his system, and we saw action out of him offensively yesterday. So, for me, I had to put Volpe in the hot category. It's unfortunate that he got pinged on his elbow. We thought we might have seen him last night. We didn't. Hopefully we see him tonight. Otherwise, we know that it doesn't mean anything that there was a clean MRI and there's something behind the story. But hopefully when the lineup card comes out, we'll see him on it. But look, Friday night, that was Volpe, man. The 2-run homer, the 3 RBIs, and that Mendoza line is in the rearview mirror for Volpe, 241. And to date, he has 17 doubles, 2 triples, 8 home runs, and 37 RBIs. Look, Volpe's coming back, guys. You heard it here first. I'm not saying he's back, but I thought just Friday night alone is why he's on my list.
The positive outlook for the hit on the elbow is he did pinch run yesterday in the 8th. So I'm assuming that means we'll see him today in the starting lineup, right?
Yeah.
But with that being said, just jumping back to Friday night's game, it was great to see the Yankees get some retribution against Walker Buehler. maybe everyone else blocked this out of their mind, but Walker Buehler is the guy who closed out the World Series on our home turf when we lost to the Dodgers. So he's with our other enemy now in Boston. So it was nice to kind of light him up Friday night. And I'm sure it felt good for Volpe as well because he's been struggling. Walker Buehler was so scared that he was going to hit a grand slam there that he just decided to peg him in the elbow instead. So hopefully Volpe comes out tonight and keeps swinging the bat hot.
Yeah, absolutely. And can anyone else say louder than us? Welcome back, Jazzman.
I think I never root for injuries, obviously, but that injury for Jazz might have been the best thing that's ever happened to him.
Yeah. Well, what I was reading this week about him is that it gave him some time to really be a bit reflective because he was wondering what was going bad, why he was so low key, not the Jazz man we know. And it was actually one of the pitching coaches that talked to him and basically said, you need to slow down because you're always so fast, you're always ahead of yourself. And so he's now trying to think that way and like play at his 70%. And so far that formula has been working out. Small sample size, but we'll see. But so good to see him back. And having him back in Cleveland really helped out there with them. And I think he'll be in the lineup. I think he'll be in the lineup today. It was just a rest day because of the lefty situation yesterday.
Yeah. I wonder if the assistant hitting coach, Pat Rossler, is happy to have him back, though, because every time Jazz hits a home run, he bites the guy. He literally goes over and bites him in the dugout every time he hits a home run. So I'm just curious to know how the assistant hitting coach feels about this because it's a very strange tradition Jazz has started. And every time they show it in the dugout, I'm just like, why is Jazz biting a grown-ass man? What is happening? But hey, we're going to see it for the rest of the season, I guess.
Well, Rossler better just take it because it's working. And it's actually Rossler was the coach I was referring to a minute ago.
That's so funny.
He's the one that said at 0%, you're one of the best out there. At 100%, not 0%. At 70%, typo in my notes. At 70%, you're one of the best out there. At 100%, you might be dog crap, was the quote in the article. And so he slowed his roll a bit, is what he said in the article. And look, like we were just saying, that worked Friday night with that 3-run homer. So, and he said that that home run was a surprise to him. He was looking for a line drive. But thank God for that short porch.
Yeah, right. We'll take it. And not only that, Jazz was running wild on Friday. He had 2 stolen bases. I mean, technically he had 3, but he overslid on third. So Boston, with their bad defense, finally did something right over there and held on to it. Or he would have had 3 stolen bases.
Just not. There's going to be more about Jazz later on because our hearts are just so full for him. But we have Mr. DJ. Go ahead, Ciarra.
Go DJ. That's my DJ. Listen, you guys all called me crazy for wanting DJ back. And while he's not like hitting over the moon or doing anything crazy, he's better than Pablo Reyes. He's better than Oswald Peraza, and he's giving you professional at bats. He's playing good defense, and he had his first 4-hit game since June 26th of 2021. My guy DJ is back. He is not completely washed up. He's even smiling. I've never seen DJ LeMahieu smile in my life until he came back from this injury. And you know what? He probably feels like a weight has been lifted off his shoulder because we're talking about a guy who was a batting title champion at one point, right? He was a Gold Glove winner at one point. So to not have been able to produce for the past 2 seasons, like at all, I'm sure that weighed heavily on his mind. He's 36, 37 years old. So he's coming up to the end of his career. It's not like he has a lot of time left. I sat here preseason and said, just shoot the guy out and take him out back and shoot him and just get rid of him.
That might be an exact quote.
But he's doing exactly what I need him to do as a number 9 hitter who's not playing every day. He's 8 for 17. He's got a double. He's got multiple RBIs. Look, I would take him over Reyes, over Peraza any day of the week at this point. And he plays second and third.
Exactly. And yeah, FJ, yeah, thanks for calling that one out. He's the only one that got that clutch hit off of Wilson.
He even looks taller. Like, I don't know if it's just the way he's carrying himself. And I said this before, and I know I sound crazy saying it. He looks taller. That man is proud of himself right now. So I hope he goes out there and beats his chest today and says, "I'm back, bitches," and does his thing.
And look what Jordan's saying to you.
Don't tell anyone, Jordan.
Don't tell the 31 people watching or all the ones that'll watch after that. Our little secret. But look, say it while you can, and hopefully we'll be saying it every damn show. Look, he clearly he still had it in him. And he'll never be the 2018 DJ. Let's be real. But look, I'll take this 2025 DJ. And if he stays anywhere near this way, we're good. And I wasn't so excited about his return. I don't know really anyone that was, but oh yeah, we're gonna get there, Jared. I see what you just put down. But DJ, so enjoying having you on the hot list on today, June 8th, 2025. So let's just pivot to who's not hot. Maybe that'll be an easier question. And so let me start. Pablo effing Reyes. I was done with the Pablo Reyes experiment before he was born. Okay. Why? Why not? And to what you were saying, Ciarra, why not Peraza? You had him come in and pinch it anyway. Why not Peraza, for crying out loud? And Lori, thank you for always saying what I feel like I can't say. So yep. Pretty much. What has he done for us lately or ever that in the hottest series on national TV, on our once and probably future rivals, would you do this? Go ahead, Ciarra.
So Pablo Reyes is like a narcissistic ex-boyfriend where he just tricks you into thinking he's a good guy, because look back to spring training. He tricked us all. He made us all think that this is finally the time that this guy can figure out how to be a Major League Baseball player, and maybe he won't be a career minor leaguer after all. But what the hell has he done for us? I'm not even going to lie to you. At least once a week, I forget the guys on the team because we don't see him. We only saw him yesterday because Volpe was sitting because Walker Buehler hit him in the elbow. If Volpe was in the lineup, then we would have never saw Pablo Reyes because there would have been no need to put him at third base because we had DJ and Peraza. With that being said, when the Yankees optioned Jorbit Vivas down to AAA, while Jorbit wasn't lighting the world on fire, at least the guy knows how to take a walk. At least the guy can play defense. Like, I would much rather see Jorbit Vivas here developing. And in the past, I've always said this is not a developmental league, but we don't have a consistent third baseman, right? Waldo's hurt. Peraza is what he is. And DJ just came back. I would rather see Jorbit Vivas here figuring out second or third base than Pablo Reyes just taking up a spot. But the Yankees believe that they are doing some type of asset protection right now because Reyes can play more than one position once every 17 days. But to me, I would rather never see Pablo Reyes step foot on a baseball field in a Yankees uniform ever again in my life. Like, I will pay for the Uber and get his ass out of there right now. Just send him somewhere else because I don't want to see him again.
Yeah, this is not spring training. This isn't the time to give him his reps, and definitely not the series to do it in. Not that I could think of a series where this would be okay. I do not want to see him in pinstripes again. I really don't. Put him in some, corny low A team and that uniform. Or better yet, like everyone I'm saying in the chat, DFA him for crying out loud. He just has no business whatsoever. So, and look, he just that one play alone, that line drive would have been caught or at least stopped. It was a tricky one from Story, really hot off the bat, but somebody else would have batted that down and lessened the damage than the 3 runs we got courtesy of Pablo Reyes.
Yeah, Trevor Story kicked our asses yesterday too. Let me just throw that out there. Just like up and down the field. We didn't lose to Boston. We lost to Trevor Story. So let's try to contain him today because I can't do that again.
No. We don't need Story to be another Story. That's for sure. I don't want anyone interviewing him after the game and giving him the glory. No glory for Story. And as we've talked about, poor Yarbrough. You're still our bro, Yarbrough. I believe in you. I think you're going to be back up in the hot list sooner than later. But listen, the cutter and the change, you're 2 really good ones. Non-existent. But just horrible location in general. And his comments after the game kind of annoyed me too, because he was so passé about it. Yeah, we're going to take a look at that. And more talked about how the bats weren't lighting up either, and so he annoyed me. So not so much on in my favor right now, but I still believe in him. But man, that 5-run 3rd inning, that hurt badly.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take a little bit of an opposite opinion on this one. I agree that he's a not this week. I just don't know if he is our long-term solution as for a starter. Like the Yankees need to figure that out. If we're not going to have a whole 5 rotation going into after the All-Star break, what am I trying to say? They need to figure out how to make a trade to get a pitcher because first of all, pitchers are dropping like flies across the MLB right now. So you got to find one and you got to claim them because we can't go the entire season only having Rodon and Fried because we might make it to the playoffs, but it's not going to work in the playoffs for us. So, and we just, at this point, there is a timeline for Heel, but who knows if it's actually going to happen.
Right. And who knows when he gets back, what we're going to get. So, that's an unknown too. There's really no sure picture in the future, and that's really scary. Given the fact that we got a great lead in the division, but things change on a dime, and something has to be figured out. And look, the trade deadline. Slow it down, Lynn. I guess the caffeine's kicking in. What do you think? The trade deadline's looming, and I'm still not hearing a peep anywhere, not even from fans on Twitter. Like, it's time to start getting that conversation going because we need so much, and Steinbrenner is going to give so little, but we need so much.
Yeah, I agree. And what's crazy is we have a decent farm system. It's not like we don't have leverage. I mean, look at a team like Baltimore or the Chicago White Sox. Their season is over. That is the team that you can trade with. Give them some assets for next season. Like Baltimore has 0 pitching. So even if you trade with them to get like a utility or a third baseman, I know we're talking about pitching, but like you can make that deal. Or the Chicago White Sox have good pitching right now. They have no run support. So make a deal with them to get one of their young pitchers and bring them over to us. Like there are teams out there that you can make trades with. You just have to be willing to part ways with all of these guys that you want to hold on to in the minor leagues and then do absolutely nothing with.
Yep. And so like Raziel's saying,
yeah.
Jared, I'm going to get you.
Friggin' put him on the train right now, because I'm convinced Marcus Stroman isn't even hurt. That this is all, we knew they weren't going to let him get his innings going into the season, right? But he also looked very bad. I don't think he's hurt. I think they just do not want to put him on the mound. And at this point, send him somewhere else. Figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I think it's a phony thing altogether. They just want to, like, so if you're gonna, like, waste the money, let him be a waste of money out of our uniform, for crying out loud. You're not fooling anyone. And Jared, I know you were kidding, and I have to admit, I as the kids would say, low key deserve that.
What if we trade Jared for a starting pitcher? Like, we can just ship him off to another fan base, and they give us one of their prospect pitchers in return.
Yeah, 100%. And hey, Karen, I see you. Thanks for stopping by. All right, and then everyone wants to give Ian Hamilton his due in the not category. Why don't you go for that, Ciarra?
I think this is the third time since the season started that I've said I don't want to see Ian Hamilton pitch for the Yankees. Look, the guy is always injured, so at this point, why do we even need him? And when he's not injured, he's not pitching very well. We had came back last night. It was a 1-run game. And I know I saw all the negative Nancy's on Twitter and on the internet saying, oh, we weren't going to come back and win anyway, right? It was a 1-run game. We could have came back in the bottom of the ninth. We could have tied it up. We could have won. But it's much easier to come back from a 1-run deficit than it is a 3-run deficit, in my opinion. So when Hamilton went out there and gave up 2 more runs to make it a 10-7 game, like, at that point, I was like, okay, maybe the nail's in the coffin, because what the hell? He looked terrible. Unfortunately for us, Luke Weaver's injured. So we didn't have our closer to go out there in a tight game and help us out. And Devin Williams and Fernando Cruz were already spent. So we were stuck with that terrorist that they call Ian Hamilton. But I never want to see him in pinstripes ever again. You know what? Let's do a 2-for-1 DFA for Pablo Reyes and Ian Hamilton. Or a 2-for-3. You know what? We can do a 3-for-1 trade. Any team out there that wants to take on Stroman, Hamilton, and Pablo Reyes, you can have them. We will take a bag of chips in return.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, it's true that we've seen Cruz, and we've seen Williams, but it's not like they were entirely spent. And, I would rather have a half-baked Cruz. I'd rather have a half-baked croissant than Hamilton in that situation. So, and yeah, it's just, now it's in the rearview mirror, but I really would like the bullpen budget to look like he's full, and so we can't use him at all.
He looks so bad that Sunil is calling for Chapman to be back in pinstripes.
I saw that.
Listen, I think Chapman put a curse on the Yankees closing role when he left, because look at poor Clay Holmes. Like, he couldn't figure it out. And then you look at Devin Williams, he can't figure it out as a closer. Luke Weaver is the only one that could break the curse of Aroldis Chapman. Everyone else is just like, they can't do it. So, but also I think, so Chapman has, I pay attention to other teams. Chapman has had a very rocky year, which is very Chapman-like to do. He'll go out and he'll give you 3 games in a row where he's just lights out, nasty pitcher. And then he'll go out and revert back to the Aroldis Chapman that we know and just be a complete terrorist and ruin your life. So,
right.
Unfortunately, we had to see the good version of Chapman last night.
Yeah, and the best version of Chapman last night was his Dick Van Dyke tumble over first base. and limping off the field. So I don't know if they're going to be losing their closer for a few days, but somebody, may or may not have been me, was laughing so hard that I might have to go on the IL for a strained lat. That was like, I felt like that was for Yankee fans everywhere.
I'm with Lori. I would never want Chapman back just for the fact that he feels up his own mom, and that's just so wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, seriously, Raziel, I'm usually all in with you, Raziel, but come on, you're gaslighting, right? You gotta be, because and you don't wanna gaslight me. Everyone's seen what that looks like. So I'm gonna stay composed for now. Um, all right, and we know that there's somewhere in the middle that we like to call meh. So who was meh for you this week, Ciarra?
Listen, Austin Wells, I feel like I'm always picking on the guy, but I gave him a meh because he wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. He hit a home run yesterday. Congratulations. But he's still doing like these little things that irk my soul. And maybe it's one of those things where, like when you were in school and you started to not like somebody and then everything they did just irritated you. That's how I feel about Austin Wells right now. But when he swings at a first pitch with the bases loaded or guys in running position or scoring position, especially when the pitcher is struggling to locate the strike zone, that drives me insane. Take a pitch. It is okay to take a pitch. And that's why I like guys like Jordan Vivas, because even though they're not lighting the world on fire, they know how to take a pitch, right? It's like Austin Wells doesn't know how to do that. Also, behind the plate, I want to see more leadership. If you're going to be the guy, if you're going to be our guy moving forward, I need to see more out of you. I need you to step up. I need you to direct traffic. I need you to talk to your pitchers. I'm starting to see why maybe Garrett Cole didn't really like having Wells behind the plate for him. And I know Garrett Cole may come off as a diva, but maybe there's a reason for that. So with that being said, I just need more consistency out of Wells offensively. Defensively, I just need to see more in general.
Right. Yeah, and the only part of meh that I could give him is that, again, he's further off the Mendoza line than he had been. So more of that, please. And then we got Schmidt, who is really our Clay Holmes, because you just don't know what you're going to get. And when you get what you don't want, it's Tomsville, USA. What do you want to say about him?
I think the most frustrating thing about his start versus Cleveland is that we still could have won the game if the offense showed up, right? He gave up 3 runs right out the gate, but then he settled in and he was fine. So it was frustrating that he can't decide what pitcher he wants to be, but it was also frustrating to see that the offense couldn't pick him up because a 3-run deficit early on, they had 9 innings to figure it out and they didn't. So I'm going to give him a meh, but outside of that start, Clark Schmidt, it seems like the 3rd time through the order, he still can't figure it out. So I'm starting to think that maybe this is what Clark Schmidt is. And again, we need to start thinking about starting pitching and in what we're going to do at the deadline.
Yeah, that really is our biggest need, biggest goal. So we talked about the hots, but out of the hots, or maybe even someone who wasn't mentioned as a hot, and I'd love to hear from the chat because maybe no one was so hot for you this week, but who was the hero of the week? For you, Ciarra, go ahead and give it.
You guys are gonna laugh. I went with DJ because maybe he didn't have like a big hero moment or a game-winning run, but just seeing DJ smile, seeing him hit the ball, seeing him move and be able to play defense, like I've never been happier for DJ LeMahieu in my life. Again, I said this earlier in the show, but we're talking about a man who won a batting title in Colorado, and that's why we signed him, right? We're talking about a guy who has a Gold Glove at second base. So it's not like DJ LeMahieu was always this bum who could never play baseball. Unfortunately for him, the worst half of 30 caught up to him quicker than some guys, and his injuries just did not help him. But after that weird calf injury in the spring training, his comeback right now has been great. First 4-hit game since 2021. He's hitting the ball. He's making contact. He's giving you professional at-bats. He can take a walk. He can play. He's playing defense. And like I said, he looks taller. He looks happier. This is the best version of DJ that we've seen since like 2021, 2022. And I'm here for it. All we need now is Giancarlo Stanton to come back and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that too. Yeah, I agree. And maybe he looks taller because he's taller in our eyes. And maybe he is standing up a little bit straighter because he's feeling good about himself. But, I really agree with your choice there, Ciarra. He has been it's like he heard every fan out there and said, "Okay, hold my beer, guys." Not that I could ever picture DJ saying something like that. I'm so happy for him for stay. I'm so proud of him for talking to reporters after the game on camera, um, and instead of his usual walking by and like not wanting to talk. But yeah, DJ for sure wore the cape. Um, and I hope that we give it to him more times during the season. For me, it's the Jazz Man. It's
Mhm.
jazz hands for the Jazz Man. Part of it is because of what I was saying earlier that he took the time during his IL to reflect, and that's what we always want to see, right? And I learned that I'm going to get this wrong. Oh, his friends gave him the nickname Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights because he's so fast with everything. And like we said earlier, Pat Russell told him, "Look, slow your roll, kid." Basically, what he said. You don't have to be so fast all of the time. If you slow it down and you like have your heart rate where the rest of the leagues is, you're going to be a great player. And look what he's doing right now. So it certainly worked Friday night with that 3-run homer. And he said afterwards, like I said earlier, he thought he was really just aiming for small ball there, but it went out of the park. And so we love him for his fastness. We love his energy. We need his energy. We don't want that going down to 70%. But his approach at the plate could use it, and it paid off in a small sample size already. So he is my hero. I feel like it's a little bit subjective because, he's one of my favorite players this season. But it's partly because of what he brings it to the clubhouse and to the team. And maybe because he nibbles on his assistant pitching coach, um, which is really kind of awkward when you see it. But,
He's like a little bunny rabbit.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's my hero. No heroes from the chat. Well, Karen said DJ is her hero.
I love it.
Yeah, and Jordan's calling out. Look at that. 400 average the last 7 games. Not too shabby. All right, so let's get to the tough side of things. So the good news about Volpe is, he thought and had said that he expected to be back yesterday. He wasn't. So from that left elbow contusion, I mean, did everybody else scream "ouch" when you saw that the other night? Getting hit by that pitch had to have been brutal.
It looked like it hurt. Like as soon as it hit, like you could tell.
Yep. And he usually blows stuff off. He could not blow that off. So hopefully we get him back today. Stanton is supposed to be back in New York today or Monday at the latest. And now they're saying a rehab assignment is probable. I don't know what to do with that crap because it's been, he might do a rehab. We might put him right in, like commit already. But
I think
it means he's closer.
I think a rehab wouldn't be the worst thing for him. I think Stanton's one of those guys where you can just plug him in and he'll figure it out. But maybe a rehab just to get his feet going wouldn't be the worst thing for him. I mean, look at DJ. It did wonders for DJ. But the only thing that concerns me moving forward is the elbow issue. I don't think that's something that's ever going to go away. I unfortunately, I think Stanton is stuck with that for the rest of his career and the rest of his life. But either way, Stanton is, our favorite player, and I cannot wait for him to be back on this team.
We definitely need him with our eyes on the postseason. And so I'm just telling everybody right now, I do not want any Stanton shade if they have him DHing, if they give him rest days, if he's not producing so well at first. I just don't want to hear it because it's really after the All-Star break where we need him the most. And that's been proven the past several seasons. We get it into gear the best after the All-Star break. And so that's, let's be gentle with the G-man, because Ciarra and I both love him and fight over him in a pleasant way, not in a Cabrera fashion. So yeah, Stanton being back is going to be so good for the Yankees in many ways.
The real captain will be returning.
Exactly. And somebody on Twitter yesterday, I want to say it's my friend Chris Pizea, who joined us while you were away last week, Ciarra. I think it was him that tweeted out that we're going to see him as manager in about 5 years somewhere. And
I could see that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I pay attention to Stanton way more than most people, but if you see the way that he talks to the younger guys and the way that they talk about him and how they look up to him, Stanton is a true leader in that clubhouse. I know Judge is the captain, right? But Stanton is a leader in that clubhouse. And look at what he said about the AL championship rings. That's not the one we wanted, right? And they listened to him. They were like, you know what? You're right. Screw this bogus ring. We should have had a World Series ring. So he's a leader, and I would instantly be a fan if he became a coach somewhere.
Yeah. Coach, I could see before manager. But I definitely could see either. And that's where he would go when his career is done. Is he's not going to get far away from a team. So so FJ's saying that the injury is too mysterious, but Karen, correct me if I'm wrong. When it comes to tennis elbow, I don't know if there's a surgical approach for that. And to Ciarra's point, is it chronic? Does it come sporadically throughout? You're the nurse of the team, so let us know your thoughts on that. I lost my place in the thing here.
I was laughing at Lori's comment. She said, I definitely pay attention when he takes his shirt off.
Yeah, there isn't many females that get mad at that. All right. So and look, Weaver's not going to be back for next weekend against Boston. Hopefully he'll be back soon after. But God, do we need him? And nobody better ever say that he's not the closer ever again. He is our closer, and the bullpen showing that every single game. Right, Ciarra? Oh.
Yeah, I think Luke Weaver, I don't even know. Like, look, I know I was happy when the Yankees brought in Devin Williams, but I don't know why we tried to take Luke Weaver out of the closer role. He proved time and time again that is his spot on this team, right? Like, he didn't do anything to get it taken away from him, so I don't know why we tried to in the first place. Devin Williams pitches better in the 8th inning at this point with us anyway. So why try to fix something that's not broken? And now with Weaver out, we are just seeing the holes in the bullpen, and it makes me want to throw up when certain guys are on the mound.
Yeah, and we have enough that's broken. Like, don't break something that doesn't need to be, whatever that phrase is. Karen saying that, is it really tennis elbow? The Yankees are famous for fluffing things out. I don't like that answer, Karen. Come out with something less concerning. All right. You have others to talk about, Ciarra, on the IL.
Oh yeah, I do. JT Brubaker, I know, real person or not, his rehab assignment was just moved from AA to AAA. So maybe we'll actually get to see this guy that we traded a bag of chips for. And then our guy, Jake Cousins, who I actually really do miss because he was very good for us last season. He commenced a rehab assignment with High A Hudson Valley. So because of where he's starting at, to me, that says we still have a long way to go before we see Jake Cousins. I don't even really know what to say about that. Maybe we'll see him in 2026. Luis Heel, I didn't write it down, but I do want to mention he is on track at this point to be back late July. He's been going through with his throwing program. He's throwing off a mound now, so he is on track. My only concern with that is I still think that we overused him in 2024, right? I know we were on a playoff run. We made the World Series, but a guy coming back from an injury, as well as he pitched, I think that we shouldn't have used him the way that we did. Hindsight is 2020, and I'm wondering if we could have prevented an injury in 2025 for him.
Yep. We'll never know, but this is not what we wanted his rookie of the year year to play out as. So
Raziel wasn't listening. He wasn't paying attention. We talked about Stanton for like 10 minutes, Raziel.
Okay. Are you listening to another show on us? Are you cheating on us, Raziel? What's going on? So we're not answering that. Figure it out. Play it back. Yeah, so and now that distracted me and I lost my way. But no, it wasn't you, it was Raziel. All right, so let's pivot. Let's pivot to, speaking of, God, we need so many holes filled. Let's talk about our promising prospects.
Yeah, let's do that. So I wanted to focus on pitching for the prospects because I have spent the whole show saying how much our pitching needs help, right? So Carlos Lagrange, I've heard it pronounced both ways. Somebody help me out here. He made his Double-A debut on June 6th with 6 innings pitched. He gave up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He gave up 2 home runs and he hit 1 batter. He threw 78 pitches. So kind of a mixed bag. He's someone that I've heard a lot of people talk about very highly, but to me, that is a very mixed bag. He can definitely show some improvement in his next outing.
Okay. But he's in Double-A, so, eyes on him and see how he does and progresses. Okay.
And then in Triple-A, we have Cam Schittler. I'm sorry, Cam. I know I say your name wrong every single time I say it.
Schittler's good. Shit's right.
He made his, I guess you could say, his re-debut in Triple-A because he did have a spot start last season. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, which was off of a home run, 3 walks, and 8 strikes. So through 85 pitches, my guy Cam threw 60 strikes. His promotion to Triple-A came with a 2.38 ERA. So that is a good outing, in my opinion. 1 earned run off of 1 home run, but you also struck out 8. Beautiful. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Keeping on with Triple-A, Alan Winans. I'm not sure why the Yankees aren't looking at bringing him up anytime soon. So right now he's 5-0 with a 0.23 ERA through 39 innings, and that's with 45 strikeouts. Whether they bring him up, would they bring him up as an opener or for the bullpen for a long relief guy? Like, his stuff looks nasty. So at this point, it doesn't hurt.
Let's remember that when we get Nada at the trade deadline.
That's true. And then going back to Double-A, Brock Selvage made his debut on Saturday. 3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 3 strikes, 64 pitches, 39 were strikes. And then Rock Riggio, who's not a pitcher, hit his first home run in Double-A Saturday. And Brock Selvage was Double-A. I think I said Triple-A. He's Double-A.
Yeah, Double-A. And I just love saying Rock Riggio, and I know that Sunil's going to have a field day with that name. Yeah, because it's not the name of a common guy. That's like a movie star name. I like saying Rock Riggio. And so anyway, hoping to see him a little bit more. Yeah, and there's some guys that next week I think we're going to want to mention. I'm going to keep that as a surprise. I'm so grateful, Ciarra, that you got all these prospects in, and I'll contribute next week. I'll help. And so in terms of who's coming and going, oops. In fact, I don't even think I put that as a slide this week. My bad. Vivas to Triple-A, huh?
That one made me sad.
Yep. Look. When we talked about it, let's kick Reyes down to High A, and then out altogether. Give us Vivas instead anytime we need to. And thank God we have Cruz back.
It just makes you wonder, when Stanton does come back, are we still going to be stuck with Reyes? Are they going to screw over Ben Rice or Peraza? Because if we're stuck with Reyes for the rest of the season, I might lose my mind.
Look, I'm going to say this is another example where I'll personally be storming the castle if that happens.
I know it's weird to have two DHs, really, but when Stanton comes back, I don't see him playing every day. So I think keeping Ben Rice and having them split DH time for the time being wouldn't be the worst idea. But I'm not Aaron Boone. I'm not the front office, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Whatever happens, happens.
You know that you should be in the front office ahead of them. So. All right, so let's look at what's coming next. So you guys, we're after the win tonight, we're on the road. We're starting with the Kansas City Royals, and then we're in Boston. Lord help us. Let's leave Boston with lots of hungry kids there. We really need to be the Yankees in Boston. So that's what we're looking ahead to.
We also don't. So we have a day off tomorrow, and we don't get another day off until the 26th. They're going to be tired.
So it's a long stretch. And so let's end with the trivia question of the week. So those of you that missed it at the beginning, 22 years ago, Yankees third baseman Aaron Boone, I've heard that name before, hit a walk-off home run off of Red Sox pitcher Tim Wakefield in the 11th inning of Game 7 of the 2003 ALCS. Radio listeners did not hear John Sterling's voice for the home run call. Who was the announcer who called Boone's legendary home run? Any last-minute guesses there? Some of you that came in late, I'm going to give you 2 seconds. Doo-doo. Do-do, 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 do-do. And wow, Lori and Jordan, I believe it was, got this right. Charlie Steiner. Charlie Steiner was Susan Waldman's predecessor in the radio booth. And I don't know, maybe Sterling had to take a call outside or something. I don't know how Sterling would give up a home run call like that, but it was Charlie Steiner. And so thank you, Spencer, as always, for a really great trivia question of the week. Hey, chat, our co-hosts every week. We love you, man. You guys are the great. Thanks for showing up and showing out and for all your comments. Ciarra, got any last thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, let's kick some Boston ass tonight, and then next weekend let's go into Boston, hit some pesky pole home runs, and kick their ass again.
Yes, I like that. I have nothing to add to that. So hit all those buttons. Watch our guys Monday, Wednesday, Friday of the Pinstripe Chronicles, and as always, you'll have a reserved seat with Ciarra and me right here on the upper deck every Sunday at 11. And for crying out loud, let's go Yankees!